afternoon. My name is Genevieve Bregley from Ferndale, California. First off, I'd like to thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity and for taking time out of your day to watch this video. My essay focuses on the rippling effect of cooperatives and how they ultimately affect our home, our community, our country, and our world. Thank you so much for your consideration. 3 days after I was born, I rode down a dusty road to a 500-acre organic dairy farm to be greeted by my 3 siblings and 350 Jersey cows. The history entwined within these lush green grass fields, barbed wire fences, and high-producing cattle would have never been possible without the involvement of my parents, my grandparents, and even more relatives within cooperative business models. As a fifth-generation dairy farmer with a history in agriculture, one of my favorite individuals to have a conversation with is my grandmother, Camille Regley. After mentioning to her I needed to write an essay based on cooperatives' impact in a community, to my surprise, she actually knew quite a bit about them. Currently, my grandmother works at an art gallery where she specializes in painting rural landscapes in the Eel River Valley. At a family gathering, I recall Grandma and I walking over to the living room where we sat on the couch. While discussing her latest painting projects, a question of curiosity popped in my mind. So I asked, "Grandma, how did your gallery actually start?" Little did I know that in 1988, 2 potters, 1 jeweler, 1 woodworker, and 16 artists joined together as a cooperative to become the Ferndale Art Gallery. Each member put in $100 to purchase a space where they could proudly display and sell their works of art in a leased Main Street store. The cooperative allowed each one to pursue their dreams by making it economically viable to begin their business with low overhead costs. Over the years, this cooperative has been actively engaged in the Chamber of Commerce, promoting our town and community as a whole. Its ripple effect has poured out into the tourism trade, media outlets, and stores in our community and surrounding areas. It has been said that members of cooperatives have an active interest in their community, whereas an absentee investor who lives 5,000 miles away does not. In addition, according to worker-owned cooperatives create quality, empowering jobs for community members. The gallery paints a terrific example of how a worker cooperative effectively had an economic and social impact in a small community. Now, back to my grandmothers and my conversation, I further probed, was the dairy ever involved in any cooperatives? Immediately, my grandma smiled with a twinkle in her eye and a confident, resounding yes. She began to explain how the important role that cooperatives had in our dairy and agriculture in general. During the Industrial Revolution in the early 1800s, consumer cooperatives rose as part of the labor movement. In this time period, selection for products plundered, while prices escalated for small-scale operations. To combat this issue, the workers, consumers, farmers, and producers banded together to gain economic clout. This mentality relates to the exact reason my grandpa became involved with the cooperative board for a grain company based out of Petaluma, California. My grandmother elaborated on how involvement in a grain co-op allowed their dairy to band with other farmers within the Eel River Valley to purchase a better quality feed at a lower cost for their cattle. She explained that the consumer cooperative model served as an essential aspect within agriculture. Economically, consumer cooperatives are able to purchase higher quantities at a lower price, which allows farmers to be on a more level playing field with large businesses. In the Eel River Valley, dairymen have prospered solely through cooperatives. With 60 dairies in Humboldt County, employment opportunities are available which create good-paying jobs for the community. Ultimately, through a cooperative, a chain reaction is united, and accountants, repair shops, suppliers, veterinarians, churches, schools, and neighbors reap the benefits. That chain reaction creates a local pride and a reinvestment in our community. As my grandmother and I concluded our conversation, my dad notified me that it was time to feed the calves. After thanking my grandmother for her time, I ventured with my dad to the dairy. While driving the truck down our lane, I explained to my dad the detailed conversation that I had just had with my grandmother. Dad responded saying, "You know, we also produce for a cooperative." In my mind, I'm thinking, no way! But then I asked with an astonished look on my face, where we ship our milk to is really a cooperative? Little did I know, a whole new lesson from Dad was in store for me on that Sunday afternoon. Being a small family dairy farm, producing for our cooperative has enabled us to reach a national market today. The founders of our cooperative in the 1980s proclaimed, "We need a more sustainable business model that works for family farmers." Naturally, a producer cooperative was the answer to this need. Economically, producer cooperatives enable the ability to develop a label, the ability to gain special rates on shipping costs, and the ability to provide larger volumes to market. Through the cooperative, a social impact has been made with our community by providing an accountable place to ship our milk. Because of our voice in the cooperative, we're able to create a relationship with our community and keep our communities viable by using the goods and services from our neighbors. Just like my great-great-grandfather, along with other farmers, created opportunities for future generations in the agriculture industry, cooperatives also established a ripple effect in our local economy. Whether it's producing jobs at an art gallery, giving dairymen a reliable and affordable source to purchase feed, or supplying a wholesome, nutritious milk to the world, cooperatives have led the way to businesses contributing to community viability. Ultimately, through cooperatives, we reinvest in people like my grandmother, my family, my neighbors, and individuals striving to the betterment of our local communities. Thank you.